Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the football betting series here on YouTube UEFA edition. On Matchday 7 we did pretty well. We only lost one of our 6 selections and was pushed on the other for 4 wins, which brings our UEFA record up to 26 wins, 7 losses with 4 pushes, and a UEFA profit of £225.33. When I add that to the overall record, we're standing at 117 wins, 45 losses and 20 pushes for a series profit of £727.41 at the time of recording. It's the final match day of the league stage, Matchday 8, and there are a couple of meaningless games out there where some sides have already secured qualification for the top 8, the top 24, and some sides will not be able to reach the top 24 no matter how much they win by on the final day of the league stage. So just be careful and take that into account when you're making your predictions and placing your bets this week. I've got 4 picks in today's episode, 2 from the UEFA Champions League and 2 from the Europa League as well. And if you think I'm talking some sense, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Without further ado, let's get into it. Kicking things off with the Champions League, our first selection sees 9th placed Aston Villa playing host to 18th placed Celtic. And Aston Villa faced defeat for the second time in the Champions League at the hands of Monaco in their last game. Wilfried Singo opened the scoring after just 8 minutes, and despite the Villains controlling possession and creating 5 big chances, they ultimately couldn't get that breakthrough and went on to lose the match by 1-0. In terms of form, this defeat does break a 2-game unbeaten streak for the Villains, but they're still within a shout of the top 8 spots with their record of 4 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats to their name. They host a Celtic side who won their previous match by 1-0 against Young Boys, thanks to a fortuitous own goal from defender Benito. Taking a look at the statistics, Celtic were dominant but probably did deserve the win, but they had a goal disallowed and a penalty saved in the first half, so the correct score was there on the night. In terms of form, this was Celtic's first win in 3, but it does continue their unbeaten run of 5 matches in the Champions League since their 7-1 hammering at the hands of Borussia Dortmund. Overall, Celtic have a record of 3 wins, 3 draws and 1 defeat, and their 12 points guarantee safety as Man City and Dinamo can only earn 11 with wins on Matchday 8. There's no head-to-head record to go off, so straight on to the prediction, and I think that Celtic will be delighted to have booked a spot in the knockout rounds for the first time in over a decade. They're playing for position, but with so many variables into who's going to finish where, it's unclear as if Celtic will want to win, lose or draw that match to get the best opponent in the round of 32. Aston Villa, on the other hand, have a great chance at forgoing the round of 32 altogether and finishing in the top 8 spots, with a solid win in this one. That does assume Arsenal, Inter, Atleti, Milan, Atalanta or Leverkusen slip up as well, which there's a pretty decent chance of one of those sides not getting maximum points. Villa are also the better side on paper, and they're playing at home against a side that doesn't really have any pressure on them to pick up a result. I'm going to back Aston Villa to pick up a win for a full stake in the first bet of today's episode. Our second selection sees 24th place Stuttgart playing host to 22nd place PSG. And Stuttgart eased past a winless Bratislava side in their last match by 3-1. Their 21 efforts and 10 big chances did all the heavy lifting in a match in which there was really only going to be one winner. In terms of form, that result does make it back-to-back wins for Stuttgart, which has really given them a shot at qualifying for the top 24 spot from a position where all hope was lost after just 1 win from their opening 5 matches. Overall, Stuttgart have a record of 3 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats to their name, but they do need to keep adding points as Shakhtar, Man City and Dinamo Zagreb will all hope to capitalise on the German side's misfortune. They host a PSG side who battled back from 2-0 down to win their last match against Manchester City. PSG were the better side in the first half, and Achraf Hakimi's goal was disallowed to put the Parisians ahead at half-time. Then in the second period, Grealish and Haaland scored twice for Manchester City within a 3-minute period, which appeared to be the knockout punch for PSG. But as has been the case for Manchester City this season, complacency crept in, and PSG's Dembele and Barcola scored within 4 minutes to put the sides level at 2-2. And from here, Manchester City crumbled, and PSG added 2 more to claim a 4-2 win. When we take a look at the numbers, we can say that PSG were the stronger side of the 2 on the night. On the balance of the chances created, they did deserve the win. That does mean it's 2 wins in the last 2 for PSG in the Champions League. After a patch of no win in 4, which really put the Parisians in a tricky spot, they're going to be under a lot of pressure to win here today. PSG have a record of 3 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats to their name, and will guarantee qualification to the knockout rounds with a win on the road here. There's no head-to-head record to speak of, so straight on to the predictions. Stuttgart have been resurgent in recent match days, but these games were against two of the worst sides in the Champions League, Slovan Bratislava and Young Boys. PSG, on the other hand, will be feeling the confidence which comes with the comeback win against Manchester City. Also, with a strong lead at the top of Ligue 1, PSG can really afford to throw all their resources into this match against Stuttgart in pursuit of qualification, which would have been a minimum requirement for Luis Enrique before a ball was kicked this season. PSG are the much better side on paper and will make their quality show in this match. They can secure qualification with a draw and other results going their way, but I don't think they're going to want to put themselves in this position. PSG are odds off and a really good price to pick up the win, and I'm going to back them outright here for a full stake in bet number 2. Moving across to the Europa League now, and we have 19th place Midtjylland playing host to 23rd place Fenebache. And Midtjylland, they picked up a win on the road against Liga in their last match. Despite surrendering most of the possession and being outshot across the 90 minutes, the Danes did create 6 big chances and an XG which was 3 times higher than their hosts in a well-deserved 2-0 victory. In terms of form, this win broke a really bad streak of 3 consecutive losses, and their record now stands at 3 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats. They're just 2 points ahead of Porto in 25th spot. They host a Fenebache side who earned a draw in their last match against Lyon. The statistics of the match indicate the game was fairly evenly contested, with the points shared in the goalless draw. Lyon were kept quiet due to the spectacular goalkeeping of Agirabat, with his 7 saves and his man-of-the-match performance. In terms of form, it's been mixed of late, 1 win, 1 loss and 1 draw in the last 3, and just 1 win in the last 6 for Jose Mourinho's men puts all the pressure on getting a result in Matchday 8 to book their spot in the next round of the competition. Fenerbahce's record in the Europa League stands at 3 wins, 2 draws and 2 defeats, and they are only 1 point clear of Porto in 25th, so points are a must here. There's no head-to-head record to speak of, so straight on to the prediction. Both sides have struggled to form of late, but are also coming off pretty good results in their last game. Overall, Fenebache are the more experienced side and stronger on paper. I think they're going to get a result here, but I'm not 100% sure about the win. Therefore, I'm going to lay the host side Midtjylland for a full stake in bet number 3. Our fourth and final selection in today's episode sees 29th place Maccabi Tel Aviv playing host to 25th place Porto. And Maccabi, they were bested on the road in their last match against Bodo Glimt. Despite Perez putting the Israeli side ahead after 12 minutes, Bodo battled back to level the score at half-time and added 2 more in the second period for a 3-1 win. In terms of form, this loss broke a brief run of 2 wins, in which had given Maccabi a chance of qualification for the knockout stages. Coming into this game, their record stands at 2 wins, 0 draws and 5 defeats, and that has them 3 points away from qualifying, with a win against Porto. If that happens and one of Roma, Besiktas, Fenerbahce or Ferencváros lose heavily, and Twente, Braga and Hoffenheim fail to win, they do have a chance of qualifying, but not a likely one. Maccabi hosts Porto, who suffered a defeat in their last match as well against Olympiacos. In a game in which Porto edged the visitors on every major win predictor statistic, they ultimately couldn't find the breakthrough. This left the Portuguese side vulnerable in the 79th minute as El Kaabi seized the moment for the Greeks in their 1-0 win. In terms of form, it's 1 win, 1 loss and 1 draw for Porto in their last 3, or 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses in their last 6 in the Europa League. They are consistently inconsistent, and overall Porto have a record of 2 wins, 2 draws and 3 defeats. They are just 1 point shy of the top 24 spots, which means they're going to need to pick up a result in this one, and hope that one of the 4 sides ahead of them fails to win their last match of the league stage. In terms of the head-to-head record, these sides last faced off in the 2015-2016 edition of the Europa League. Porto picked up wins both home and away with contributions from names like Vincent Aboubakar, Yassine Brahimi and Christian Teo to secure qualification from their group. My prediction for today's game is that I'm not going to mess around with this final pick. Porto must win here and hope that the other results go their way. They're the better team on paper, and shouldn't really expect to take anything less than 3 points here against the less than impressive Maccabi side. Porto to win for a full stake in the final bet of today's episode. So there we have it, 4 picks in today's episode, starting off with Aston Villa versus Celtic in the Champions League. We're backing Aston Villa at odds of 1.6, a £40 full stake to return 24. Our second selection in the Champions League sees Stuttgart versus PSG. We're backing the away side at some very good odds of 2.8, a £40 full stake to return 72. Over in the Europa League, we're going to lay Midtjylland in bet number 3, odds of 1.44, a £40 full stake to return 17.77. And wrapping up the episode, we're backing Porto to beat Maccabi Tel Aviv, odds of 1.51, a £40 stake to return £20 and 40 pence. So during this episode, we're going to risk £160 to hopefully pick up as much as £134 and 17 pence. Will we do so? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to tune to next episode. If you have made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. And as always, have yourself a lovely day.